Hey guys, welcome back to Terraria with Yak, and in this episode we're going to be going over the guide for fighting Moon Lord on Calamity's Death Mode and Master Mode enabled. So just one quick thing I want to get out of the way here is that you need to be using super healing potions for this boss fight, not greater healing potions. So if you have not already done so, upgrade to the super healing potions. This boss I have separated into 4 different categories here that I'm going to talk about. And those are the head eye, the 2 hand eyes, the core, and the tentacle. Okay, so let's start off with the 2 hands here, which are on the sides. Okay, so you'll notice that the hands will occasionally move away from the core a little bit, and this actually means something. It means that they are spawning the phantasmal spheres, and they're basically the glowing eyes that you can see kind of periodically shooting out on the screen. You can see the hands shooting them out right now there, and then what they will do is after a certain amount of seconds that pass, they will just charge towards the player with a very fast velocity, and they deal a lot of damage. So you really have to watch out for these things. Sometimes it's very hard to dodge them because they're so fast and you have almost no reaction time. And after each, and this applies for the head eye as well, after each eye is destroyed, a true Eye of Cthulhu will spawn, okay? And the true Eye of Cthulhu is an invincible enemy. You can see them flying around there. There's 2 of them there. They basically are just shooting more projectiles at you. That's all they do. They cannot deal contact damage to you. They're just another nuisance, basically. But it's one true Eye of Cthulhu for each eye that's destroyed. So if you destroy each eye, then there will be 3. And the next thing is the wiki states that the dead hands will deal contact damage upon making contact with them if they're dead, but I have not noticed this from my testing. So as far as I know, this is not true, or maybe it's fixed in death mode. I'm not really sure. But let's move on to the head eye. Now the head eye is not too much different than the hands. The same attacks still apply there, except for the phantasmal spheres. It will occasionally shoot projectiles at you in the true Eye of Cthulhu thing. The only thing different here is the death ray, and the death ray is very interesting. So the head eye works on a different cycle than the hands. The head eye opens every 20 seconds, and I believe this includes the death ray. So it's every 20 seconds, it opens and then it closes for like, I don't know, probably like 5 seconds, and then it opens again. So, and then the death ray is a little bit different on death mode. It covers more area and it goes through blocks. So don't even worry about making an arena to try to block the death ray. It will not work. Okay, now when the eye opens, there's a period of time between then and when the death ray comes out. This is displayed by a charging animation, and you can see when the eye opens, it slowly gets more and more charged. There's more particles around the eye, you can see there in the bottom left, and then when it gets supercharged, then the ray comes out. It's pretty easy to notice, but I really don't pay attention to it that much because I've pretty much mastered this fight. So I pretty much know automatically, it's like muscle memory. I know automatically when the eye is going to open and shoot the death ray. It's not, I just have a sense of feeling for that. I don't know if that makes any sense. So you really don't need to watch the eye. You don't even need to count seconds either. I would not do that, because it will distract you. I would just know rough time measurements. Hey, it's been quite a few seconds since the last death ray. It's probably going to happen in the next 2-3 seconds, maybe. Okay? Anyways, also, I forgot to add that after each death ray, the Moon Lord heals himself for 1000 HP. So this ties into something else I want to mention, and that's you want to prioritize damage, because this boss actually heals himself in a variety of ways. This isn't the only way, and it's a considerate amount of HP. It's 1000 HP, which is nothing to be, that's actually a lot of hit points that he is regenerating, and the more, if you're dealing less damage, then the more he's healing that damage back, basically. So you'll notice I'm getting a lot of true melee strikes in here, and while that is risky, The true melee does the most damage at this stage. The Astral Blade is definitely the best for that. But I would say that the damage, you're taking less risk by risking yourself taking damage for true melee strikes, because if you are trying to stay far away from the boss, you're dealing less damage when you're using the Entropic Claymore like I am. So you actually will end up spending longer on the fight, and that's more potential time that you could take damage from something else. So, you know, and then he's healing that damage back, you know. I might be exaggerating the healing a little bit here, but it does make a difference in the long run, is what I'm trying to say. The next category here is the core. Now the core does nothing. It basically does nothing. It only opens after all 3 eyes have been killed. It has the most HP out of anything else, but it does nothing. It does effectively nothing. No attacks or anything. The last thing I'll mention here is the tentacle. Now, if you've been wondering what that thing latching onto you is, it's the tentacle, and I'm going to tell you what it does right now. Okay, so the tentacle follows the head eyes pattern in a way. If the head eye is still alive, then the tentacle will latch on for 16 seconds after each death ray, okay? And while the tentacle is latched onto you, you cannot get any healing effects at all except for healing potions, okay? You cannot get any life regen and no life steal effects. So, it ties into another thing I want to mention here. Do not use vampire knives at all on this fight. They're basically useless. They don't deal good damage, and their healing is you're almost never going to be able to heal. There's only a few seconds in between the time when the tentacle latches off you and then latches on, and it's not worth it in my opinion. So how are we going to counteract this? Well, we're going to use the Dyphic Amulet. So I've replaced the Sand Sharktooth necklace in my accessories with the Dyphic Amulet, and this allows you to heal faster. That was a stupid way to put it. But it reduces the cooldown for healing potions. So I guess it kind of makes you heal fast. Use healing potions faster. The next thing I want to mention here is that once the tentacle latches onto you, clots will summon on the tentacle and they will move towards the mouth. So if you've been noticing like little HP bars on the tentacle, you've been wondering what those are, that is what they are. They're little clots that spawn. They don't deal any damage to you, but what they do is if they reach the Moon Lord's mouth before you kill them, they will heal the Moon Lord for 1,000 HP each. So this is actually probably the largest healing that he gets, his best sorts of healing. And it will heal basically 1,000 HP to any non-dead part of him, okay? I talked about the debuff. Now, and so that's another reason why we use the true melee, is because you don't get that life stealing. You need to get more damage in faster, okay? Because the more time you're not healing, again, you're open to more attacks, okay? Now, the last thing I'll say here is that it's just a very tough boss, guys. Even for me, it can take a few tries every time to try to beat him. He is a tough boss. It is a tough boss to really get the pattern down. Last thing I'll mention here is you want to keep the boss on the side of your screen, okay? I have seen many guides saying you want to stay in the middle of the Moon Lord. That is completely wrong. Do not listen to those idiots. Anyone who says that is making your fight more difficult than what it should be. You want to keep the Moon Lord on the side of your screen, just not far enough away, because if you do move far enough away, it's kind of like the wall of flesh. He will teleport back to you, and I think he becomes enraged for a little bit. So don't do that. But if you keep him on the side of your screen there, like I did throughout the video, you should be perfectly fine. Okay, he won't teleport to you and do all that business. Last thing I'll say is for mage, you're probably using the Spectre armor But you should be good to still use the Spectre mask, just don't use the Spectre hood. But anyways, thank y'all for watching these videos. I talked about the update in my last video, so you know, new content is going to be rolling out with new classes in it. I'll still be doing melee, of course, but yeah. Thank everybody so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.